You're thinking about starting a blue-collar business, but you're probably about to choose the wrong one because most people pick based on what sounds cool or what their buddy's doing right now, and then they end up broke in under 18 months. But today, I'm ranking blue-collar businesses from best to worst for you. I pulled real survival rates, profit margins, and startup costs so you know exactly what you're getting into before you drop 50 grand on a dream that turns into a freaking nightmare. And here's the thing. Number 3 on this list has the highest profit margins that you've ever seen, but it comes with a catch that most people can't even handle. Literally, you'll be dealing with other people's shit. I'll show you exactly why it works for some people and then it destroys others. So stick around because by the end, you'll know which business actually fits your life instead of just your fucking fantasy. Before we dive in, let me hit you with something that will change how you look at this decision. The businesses with the highest survival rates, guys, aren't the ones with the lowest startup cost. They're the ones with recurring revenue models and low labor dependency, right? So if you're building a business where you trade hours for dollars and you need a crew of maybe 10 people to scale, then you're building a house of cards, right? The smart money goes into businesses where you can systematically generate income without your physical presence every single day. That's what separates the blue-collar businesses that print money from the ones that bleed you dry. You want to know what really generates revenue in the service industry? Building systems that create leads for these exact businesses we're about to talk about. Click the link for the free training. I'll show you the digital leasing strategy that brings in over $41,000 per month for me alone. And here's how it works. You build simple websites that rank on Google for local service businesses. Let's say somebody Googles emergency plumber near me at 2 a.m. in the morning, right? Your site shows up, you capture that lead, and you sell it to a local plumber for $500 to $2,000 a month. You own the digital asset. They rent the leads. You're not fixing toilets at midnight, but you're making money off of every toilet that breaks. My students are making $2,000 to $6,000 a month with this exact system. No employees, no trucks, no liability insurance for their crew. Watch the free training and I'll walk you through exactly how this works. All right. Let's get into these businesses, okay? I'm ranking them from S tier down to F tier based on profit margins, startup cost, survival rates, and how much of your soul they're gonna consume. Landscaping, F tier. Starting at the bottom, guys, we've got landscaping. Now, don't get me wrong, there's money in landscaping if you do it right. But here's the reality most people ignore. Startup costs are deceptively high, okay? You need a truck. You need a dump trailer, commercial mowers, trimmers, blowers, safety equipment. You're looking at $25,000 to $50,000 just to look legitimate. But here's where it gets brutal, okay? Landscaping is intensely seasonal in most markets and brutally competitive, okay? Every guy with a pickup truck and a Home Depot mower thinks that he's in business. Your margins get crushed because consumers shop purely based on price. Landscaping businesses have a 5-year survival rate around 45%. Why? Because labor costs eat you alive. Weather destroys your schedule, and you're stuck in the business every single day, or it falls apart. For most people, landscaping is a grind that owns you instead of you owning it. General contracting, D tier. Moving up slightly, we've got general contracting. This one kills people because it looks so good on paper. Big project values, respected trades, solid demand. But that's not the full story. General contracting is a fucking liability nightmare. You're coordinating multiple subcontractors. You're managing client expectations that are always unrealistic, and you're on the hook if anything goes wrong at all. One bad sub, guys, can destroy your reputation and your bank account in a single project. Startup costs are going to vary widely, okay? But you need the licensing here, right? You need bonding. You need insurance that's going to run you $10,000 to $30,000 before you ever get to swing a hammer. The survival rate shows about 50% make it past 5 years. And here's the thing. If you got project management skills and you're good at reading people and contracts, you can make $100,000 to $300,000 in a year. But you better love paperwork and putting out fires because that's 80% of this job. Roofing, C tier. Let's talk roofing. This is where we start getting into businesses that actually have some meat on the bones here. Roofing sits in a C tier because it's got strong demand, guys, and decent margins. but the barriers and the risk, they're real, okay? Startup costs are significant. You need a truck, you need trailer, you need safety equipment, you need tools and insurance that will make your eyes water when you read how much it costs. You're looking at $30,000 to $60,000 to start properly. And roofing is dangerous as hell, right? You're just one slip away from becoming a cautionary tale at the next safety meeting, right? The profit margins are actually solid though, typically 20 to 40% if you're efficient. Insurance claims, though, create consistent demand, and roofing is a necessity, right? It's not a luxury. So you're somewhat recession resistant with this business. The 5-year survival rate for roofing is around 55%. If you can systematize the sales process and build a solid crew, roofing can generate $200,000 to $500,000 in a single year in profit. Junk removal, C tier. Junk removal. This is the stupidest business that actually works. And that's exactly why it's in the C tier here. It's simple, guys. The demand's everywhere, but the ceiling is lower than other trades, okay? So startup costs are the lowest in this list. You can start with a pickup truck you already own, some basic hand tools and dump fees, right? You're in business for like $5,000 to $15,000. The model is dead simple. Haul junk, right? Charge by the volume, dump it, and then you repeat the process. The margins are solid. They're typically 30 to 50% because your overhead's low. There's no specialized skills required here. No licensing in most places, right? You just need a strong back and zero shame about what your high school friends think of you when they see you hauling all your neighbor's junk, right? But junk removal is physically brutal, okay? And it's hard to scale beyond just yourself without hiring, right? The businesses that win treat it like a volume game. They systematize the process, market aggressively, and they expand to multiple trucks super quick. So for a solo business owner, you can make $50,000 to $100,000 a year. And it's not bad, but you're going to hit a ceiling fast. Electrical, B tier. Now, we're getting into businesses that separate amateurs from professionals here, okay? Electrical work sits in the B tier because it's got high barriers to entry, okay? It has strong demand. It has solid margins. So you need licensing, right? Which means years of apprenticeship and passing exams. That barrier keeps competition lower, right? Startup costs are moderate, maybe $15,000 to $40,000 for tools, a vehicle insurance, right? And then you need licensing fees. The margins in electrical are strong, typically 30 to 50% here because you're providing specialized knowledge. Customers don't shop electricians on price as much, guys, because nobody wants their house to burn down from bad wiring, right? So it turns out people are going to pay a premium to not die in a household fire. It's weird, right? But the 5-year survival rate is around 60%, higher than most trades. You can realistically build a one-person electrical business doing $150,000 to $250,000 a year in revenue with just 40 to 50% profit margins. Plumbing, A tier, guys. Plumbing sits A tier, and here's why. It's got everything that you want in a blue-collar business. It's got high demand. It's got great margins. It's got reoccurring revenue, and it's recession resistant. But it comes with that catch that I mentioned earlier. You're literally going to be dealing with shit. Let's start with the good, though. Plumbing emergencies, guys, happen 24/7, right? You got burst pipes, you got clogged drains, you got water heater failures. When somebody's basement is flooding at 2 a.m., they're not negotiating with you on price. That's where the money is, right? Margins in plumbing are so incredible, okay? They're typically 40 to 60%. Service calls are high value, and you can charge premium rates for emergency work. Plumbing businesses, guys, have a 5-year survival rate around 65%, one of the highest in the trades. Now, here's the thing. You need licensing, which requires years of you to be an apprentice, right? So startup costs are $20,000 to $50,000. And the work can be disgusting because you're dealing with sewage, you're dealing with crawl spaces, situations that would make most people quit on day one. If you can't handle elbow deep in somebody else's nightmare, then this isn't for you. But if you can handle it and you're willing to do emergency work, then you can print money in this plumbing business, okay? But you need to build a reputation for fast response times and quality work, and you'll have more business than you can even handle. A solo plumber, guys, doing service work can make $100,000 to $200,000 a year in profit, okay? Scale it with a small crew, and you're looking at $400,000 to $800,000 in annual profit. HVAC, A tier. HVAC sits right next to plumbing, A tier, right? And in some markets, it's even better. But here's why. HVAC, guys, combine service work with installation and maintenance contracts. It's giving you multiple revenue streams. The demand is massive and it's growing year after year. Everybody needs heating and cooling, right? And systems are constantly breaking. So margins are strong. They're typically 35 to 55%. Installation jobs are high value, guys. They often go for $5,000 to $15,000 per system. So service calls are steady because filters need changing, systems need tune-ups, and breakdowns happen year-round. Here's what makes HVAC powerful, though. You can build predictable income through maintenance contracts, okay? So you sign up 100 residential clients at $200 a year for biannual tune-ups, and you got $20,000 locked in before you even count service calls. The 5-year survival rate for HVAC businesses is around 63%. And that leads us to something important. HVAC scales beautifully here, right? A well-run HVAC business with 3 to 5 techs can generate $500,000 to $1 million in annual profit. That's life-changing money. Specialized niche services, S tier. Number 1, sitting in S tier isn't a specific trade, guys. It's a strategy. Specialized niche services, let me explain why this is the smartest play in blue collar. Instead of being a general plumber, you become the drain cleaning specialist, right? Instead of doing all the electrical work, you focus exclusively on like Tesla charger installations. Instead of general HVAC, you specialize in ductless mini split systems, right? Here's why specialization wins. You eliminate competition by creating category of one. You eliminate all your competition by creating yourself a category of one, right? You can charge premium prices because you're the expert. Your marketing becomes laser focused, making customer acquisition cheaper and easier, right? And you build systems faster because you're doing the same high value work repeatedly. Real example here for you real quick. There are plumbers, guys, making $500,000 a year just doing video pipe inspections and trenchless sewer repairs, right? That's all they do. They don't do service calls. They don't install water heaters. They just do one thing at an expert level and they charge accordingly for it. So why does that matter? Because the biggest mistake that people make in blue collar is trying to be everything to everyone, right? They think more services are going to mean more money, right? But it's the opposite here. The riches are in the niches, and that's why this strategy sits at S tier, okay? Here's the truth. Every single business on this list can work. Landscaping, roofing, plumbing, HVAC, they all have one thing in common. They require you to trade your time and body for money, at least in the beginning, right? That's where digital leasing changes everything. You're building assets that generate leads for these exact businesses while you sleep. No crews, guys, no trucks, no getting your hands dirty, right? You rank simple websites, you sell those leads, and you collect the checks. I've built a portfolio of digital properties that bring in over $41,000 per month. My students are making $2,000 to $6,000 a month using the exact same system. It's the smartest play in the service industry because you're feeding the machine instead of being the machine, right? So click the link for the free training. I'll show you exactly how digital leasing works and how to build your first site. Let's go build something that lasts.